Hi, I thought I'd make this video to talk a little bit about my experience hardboot splitboarding in the Pacific Northwest with a Phantom setup and some of the modifications I've done to this setup to give me a better experience both uphill and downhill. And before we get started, my disclaimer is that I bought all of this gear myself. I'm not sponsored or wasn't given any of this or at a discounted price, so these opinions just reflect my own experience. But no one's really influenced that otherwise. So if you're here, you're probably interested in hardboot splitboarding, or maybe you are a hardbooter and you're thinking about tinkering with your setup. And if so, I empathize with you. I've been doing a lot of that, which has led me here. And really, if for hard boots, if you've looked into it a bit, you'll realize there's a few different options for hard boot kind of gear ecosystems. Those are Spark, Karakoram, actually based here in Washington and North Bend, Phantom, based out of Colorado, and Key Equipment, which I think they just make the disruptive boot, and they're based in Europe, but I think you can get their gear now in the US too. And so I'll just be talking about the Phantom setup and my experience with it. When I decided to switch to hard boots, I was attracted to Phantom for a few reasons, one of which is they really just kind of developed a full ecosystem of gear for hard boot splitboarding, and they've really put a lot of time and effort into trying to make that experience better, and I think to that extent they've done a really good job of making kind of a great comprehensive ecosystem that's really just overall improved the hard boot splitboard game. So I'll walk through the kind of gear I have, my general opinions on it and experience, and then some of the areas that I haven't been as excited about and what I've done to kind of make that better and where my gear situation is at now. So to start off, I ride on a Cardiff Goat, and it's been a pretty fun board. And so from kind of top to bottom on the board, this board actually came with the Phantom spinner tip clips and the Hercules hooks. And the spinner tip clips have been good when they work. They lock in really nice and securely. Both of my tail tip clips have the rivets have popped, which is kind of annoying, and they need to be re-riveted back in. I was able to get a warranty claim, which is great, but I have to take to a gear shop now to re-rivet it. These Hercules hooks have been great. They're passive hooks. I'll do a quick transition in a moment just to walk through the full process. But the Hercules hooks have been pretty great. They're passive, they're really strong, and it's one less thing to fiddle with during transitions. I have the fixed cleats by Phantom. They are pretty light, and they also make an adjustable one. But the fixed one's nice because you save a little bit of weight, and I knew the angles I wanted to use, so I don't really plan on changing those. Next we have the Tech Toes. These are actually just rebranded Atomic Tech Toes. Phantom has rebranded a little bit of Atomic gear, the Tech Toes and the boots. But most of the other stuff is their own IP. And these are great. They're lightweight. They are pretty robust, and no complaints. They have a leash adapter too. This is their Rocket Riser, which is simple, light, does the job. And then the other piece of full Phantom IP is this M6 binding. This is, their binding that attaches on the cleats. It's pretty robust. I have no real complaints about it. Canted bales, so that's been good too. And the last piece of equipment is the Phantom slipper. This is the HD slipper, which was released a year or two after the original slipper. And I think all that's really different on the HD is they have a full-length gaiter and this removable tongue. And those are actually kind of where my issues with all of this start, but maybe I'll do the transition and then I'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons of the setup more in depth and what I've done to make the whole experience better. So, if you were touring, you to the top of your ejector, inject from your Tech Toes, slide your board halves together. It's pretty simple. Just gonna line up the Hercules hooks, pop them together, give it a little tap, and those will lock. It's a nice secure connection with the spinner tip clip. This one's a little fiddly because right now I'm holding this in with bolts. But that's it. Your board is together. To put your bindings on, you just slide it over these cleats, lock it in, and that's it. It's solid, it's fast, and that's pretty much it. And then you can do your boot transition, and this is part of where my kind of disappointment with some of the Phantom setup came in. So I think, again, Phantom has done overall a really great job of making splitboarding, hardboot splitboarding just better. But two of the misses that I feel like they have are kind of with these boots. And they're relative misses, but this boot generally is great. I mean, it tours fantastically, especially compared to a soft boot setup, but it tours really well. It's really comfortable and light, and it rides really well. However, to get the best experience for both, you really want to tour with this removable tongue out, and then it gives you the best ride with kind of the best flex and responsiveness with the tongue in. And I just found that every transition, both at the bottom and at the top, putting it in, taking it out, it was just a pain, and it doesn't seem like a lot. I mean, that's how you take it out, and you just pull it out, reverse, put it in, but you're fully unbuckling at each transition, and it's just one more thing you have to do that your transitions that just take some time. It's annoying. I would find myself occasionally forgetting to do it, and searching your pack for the tongue, so it's just that was frustrating, and I didn't like that, the added kind of hassle that it put on every transition, and that was pretty frustrating. But like I said, the touring experience is fantastic. I mean, the heel articulation is excellent. You can see that here. And the other issue I had was with this gaiter. And so Atomic used to use this really light gaiter, and it was nice. It kept everything out. It did its job. It's full length. It goes up about here, keeps the snow and the debris out. But it's pretty fragile. It feels really diaphanous when you touch it. And that was kind of a source of frustration, and it's been known that the durability on this is a little bit suspect. I used the setup all last year, and I put it through its paces, used it quite a bit, and by the end of the season, I was already starting to wear through it, and that's frustrating, right? I mean, these boots are about $850, and which is a lot, and they're, you don't really have an option to get them too discounted, and to have to spend, now Phantom offers a gaiter replacement service for about $180 all in, but spend $180 every season or two after you spend this much on your boot is kind of tough pill to swallow, at least for me. I was a little frustrated by that. And so that, along with just the hassle of this tongue and the effect on your ride feel downhill if you don't use it, was caused me to start looking elsewhere and to think, how can I make this experience a little better and streamlined. And I will say, other than those gripes about this boot, the rest of it's been great. They mentioned the rivets popped on one of my tip clips, and that was frustrating, but that can happen. But the cleats are super light. Generally, I've been really impressed at the quality of everything Phantom makes. Most of it's pretty much metal. For all the hard gear, it's all metal. It's solid. I've never had an issue with durability, and it's also very light. I mean, these cleats weigh like 100 and something grams. The bindings themselves are pretty light. I think Karakoram does offer potentially a lighter hardboot setup, but I wasn't super impressed with the Karakoram setup. That's what I originally started splitting with, and you can kind of investigate that for yourself. But everything else I've been super pleased with, except for these boots. And so that caused me to look around and to try to find a better boot option. And I looked around a bit, and I decided to switch to the 2022-2023 Atomic Backlund Carbon. And so this was the Phantom Slipper is based on 2018 to 19 platform, and I think they chose that for a few reasons. It's really light, it walks really well, it's really flexy, and it has that nice surfy downhill feel as well. I chose this boot though because in between these generations, Atomic made a few changes. One of these is they made a much more robust, thicker gaiter, and so that's really nice. This isn't going to rip. It's definitely much thicker and more robust. You can tell that immediately. I've already started putting this thing through its paces this season, and there's no real marks of wear on it. This whole bottom part just feels a bit more durable. Where actually the toe, over the toe where the tongue inserted, did have some extra plastic that was just kind of bulky, but it did protect it, which was nice. But down here, I felt like this is still pretty durable and robust. Additionally, the stiffness of the plastic seems to be a little bit higher. I know this is rated as a 115, for folks who are familiar with like ski boot ratings. I don't know what this version was, but I just know that Atomic relied a lot on this tongue to add more stiffness. And I think pretty uniformly people didn't like this because of the issue with transitioning. So they got rid of that, and Atomic, to get around that, they made their plastic stiffer. And that's been really nice because you still have a really great touring experience, really nice heel articulation. But now you can also get a really nice surfy downhill feel with a transition that's lightning fast. I mean, now when I'm transitioning for boots, that's it. I just flip my link lever down and I'm in. And then I still have a pretty nice surfy feel with the link lever, and that's my transition. It's just this. It's like a scooter transition. It's super fast. And so combined, this now walks really well. It rides downhill really well. It is still a little stiffer than this. I mean, this actually at times felt a bit softer than my soft boot setup that I use inbounds. But it was a really great ride feel, down. But I would notice sometimes that even with this in, I would lean so far forward that I could feel that I was pinching the strap. And this gives you just somehow a better progressive flex. It is, still pretty responsive. Like I said, it feels a bit stiffer than this, but the progressive flex just feels smooth as butter. It's really nice, and I'm really enjoying the responsiveness of this boot and how it rides. But I've also made some modifications to this. This isn't stock. Starting in the 2022-2023 generation, Atomic switched to a cable system from the BOA. So I took that cable off. I sealed it up on the inside. I did put the heel strap on. For me, I really liked the heel strap. I felt like it really locked your heel in well. Just like, in your soft boots when you're locked into your bindings. So I don't really get any heel play now. That feels really nice, and it's also nice when you're touring. It feels like it just locks your heel in. To be honest, I actually don't even know why ski boots don't use the heel strap instead of this. I mean, I'm sure there's some recent skiers who know, but I love the feel of this. And then I put the link lever on. And the link lever, I'm sure for those who are looking at the hard boots have probably read about it or heard about it. It really is a game changer. It really does give that nice progressive flex. And so these two things, along with some really creative foam work and J-barring, have really helped me get a really good locked-in fit with my foot in this boot. And it's provided a really great experience both on the uphill and down. One of the other differences that Atomic also changed or made between these generations is the old liner used to be really soft, which is part of the reason it walked so well and was so light. But it was pretty soft and thin, and it wasn't very warm. This new one is reinforced both up top and down low, and it's a bit stiffer, and it just is generally more plush. It feels a lot more akin to like the Intuition Pro Tour liner than this liner. And so together, like I said, it's just this really nice, fun, surfy ride down that's still really nice and responsive, and a great tour up. And so those are some of the mods that I've made. It still clips in really easily. You clip in with the Phantom setup, with the bail goes over the heel welt, and then the front bail goes over the toe welt. You're locked in. You have some good lateral flex. And overall, it's great. So these are the modifications I've made. This is kind of where I'm at. I think, if you still end up with the Phantom setup, you'll be really happy. But for me, just being able to transition quicker and have a what feels like an even better ride feel downhill, while still maintaining that really nice tour experience uphill was worth switching boots. And what's nice is this boot was about half the cost. I bought this in the last season for $350. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any more questions, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll try to answer it as quickly as I can. Thanks for listening.